I spent my 40th birthday alone in my apartment, eating takeout, while my father and his family used my savings to fund their lavish getaway. It was supposed to be a milestone birthday, a moment to feel cherished after years of giving everything to those I loved. I got dressed up, ordered food, set the table, and waited. But that day changed how I saw everyone around me. I may be younger, but I'm not naive, and I'm far from powerless. Thank you for listening as I share my story. I'd love to hear in the comments where you're reading from and what time it is. If you enjoy my story, please hit that subscribe button. It means more than you know. Now, let me tell you what happened. I'd been looking forward to that trip for months. Back in January, my father, James, called me, his voice warm with excitement. He said he was planning something special for my 40th, a family vacation to celebrate me. A real escape, sweetheart, he said. Somewhere sunny. Just pack your favorite dresses, and we'll take care of everything. I was thrilled, nearly dropping my phone. I hadn't taken a real vacation in years, not since Mom passed. Work, bills, and helping Dad had kept me tethered to our small town of Willow Creek. A beach trip sounded like a dream. When I asked about the cost, he brushed it off. You've worked hard your whole life. You deserve this. Let us handle it. A week later, he asked to borrow my debit card to secure group tickets, saying it was to lock in a good rate. I hesitated but trusted him. He's my dad. I handed over the card details without too many questions. We'll go in late April, maybe early May, he promised. When April passed without a date, I asked again. We're just sorting out schedules, he said. It'll be right on your birthday, trust me. I believed him. I even bought a new suitcase, teal, on clearance, tag still on it. I kept it by my apartment door, packing it slowly over weeks. A floral skirt I loved, sandals I hadn't worn in years, a wide-brimmed hat, and Mom's old scarf for comfort, like she'd be with us in spirit. The night before my birthday, James called, sounding rushed, like he was in a car. Sweetheart, I hate to say this, but we need to push the trip back a bit, he said. My stomach sank. How long? I asked. Just a few weeks, maybe. Some scheduling conflicts. I swallowed hard. Okay, but you're coming for dinner tomorrow, right? There was a pause. Of course, he said quickly. Wouldn't miss it. That was enough for me. I tried to stay calm. Plans change, I told myself. Life gets busy. At least I'd see them. On the morning of my 40th birthday, I woke early, put on my favorite jazz playlist, and brewed coffee. I ordered food from the diner down the street, fried catfish, collards, cornbread, and a peach cobbler I splurged on. I set the table for 4. Me, Dad, his girlfriend Lisa, and my half-sister Chloe. I wore my green sundress, the one Mom said brought out my eyes. I did my hair, added a touch of gloss, and lit a candle I usually saved for special occasions. The apartment smelled warm and inviting. By 5 p.m., I was ready. By 6, I started checking my phone. By 7, I'd reheated the food twice. By 8, I stopped peeking out the window. By 9, I sat alone at the table. The candle burned low, the food cold. My gloss was smudged. I stared at the empty chairs and tried to reason it out. Maybe an emergency, maybe a flat tire, maybe a dead phone. But deep down, I knew no one was coming. My hands shook as I picked up my fork. The food tasted like nothing. I took a few bites, pushed the plate away, and leaned on the table. I looked at the birthday card I'd bought myself from the dollar store, with "You're amazing" in gold glitter. It felt silly now, like a cruel joke. I cried quietly, the kind of tears that sneak out when you've held them in too long. My shoulders shook. I wiped my face with a napkin and sat in the silence, letting the hurt settle. No calls, no texts, not even a "happy birthday, sweetheart." By 10:30, I packed the cobbler in Tupperware, put the food away, blew out the candle, and changed into pajamas. I sat on my couch, staring at the teal suitcase still waiting by the door. I lay down, the ache in my chest sharper than usual. The hum of the fridge was the only sound. I whispered, maybe they forgot. But I knew they hadn't. They just didn't show. The morning after my 40th, my apartment felt empty. Not peaceful, but hollow. I sat on the couch for a long time, staring at that suitcase I'd packed with hope. Part of me wanted to believe the trip was just delayed, that I needed to be patient. I went through my routine, brushed my teeth, tied my hair up, shuffled to the kitchen in my slippers. Everything felt heavy, like moving through fog. I made tea but didn't drink it, opened the fridge, stared at the cobbler, and closed it. I couldn't face the dishes piled in the sink. Wrapped in Mom's old quilt, I sat on the couch, the ticking of the wall clock loud in the silence. Noon came, and still no calls, no texts, no "sorry we missed you." I clung to a thread of hope. Maybe they'd mixed up the date. Then I heard a knock, soft but clear. I peeked through the blinds. It was Marcus, the kid from the apartment across the hall, always kind, always checking in. His mom raised him right. I opened the door. "Hey, Miss Clara," he said, holding a small grocery bag and grinning. "Got that lavender detergent you like?" "Bless you," I said, letting him in. He set the bag on the counter. Noticing my phone, he asked, "Still having trouble with that thing?" I nodded. "Keeps freezing. You know I'm hopeless with tech." He laughed, sat at the table, and started tinkering with it. I wiped down the counter to keep busy. Then he paused. "Miss Clara, didn't you say your dad was planning a big trip for your birthday?" I turned slowly. "Yeah, a family vacation. But he said it was postponed." "Why?" He hesitated, then showed me his phone. "I follow Chloe on Instagram." I didn't mean to pry, but there it was. A beach, golden sand, turquoise water, and my family, Dad, Lisa, Chloe, wearing matching Hayes family getaway shirts, laughing with cocktails by a resort pool. The caption read, "Paradise vibes. Hashtag family first, hashtag sunshine. Posted last night on my birthday." I froze, my breath caught. I took the phone, zoomed in. It wasn't a day trip. It was a full-blown vacation with fancy dinners and cabanas. I scrolled. Lisa posing in a flowy dress, Dad grinning with a cigar, Chloe flashing a new necklace. Not one mention of me. Marcus stayed quiet, unsure what to say. "They said it was postponed," I whispered. "Said they'd come for dinner." Tears stung my eyes. I blinked hard, but they fell anyway. My hands shook as I set the phone down. "They left me," I said. "They really left me." Marcus stood, his voice soft. "I'm so sorry, Miss Clara. I thought you knew." "Not your fault," I said, wiping my face. "It's mine for trusting them." He sat with me, not pushing, just there. It hurt more that a neighbor cared enough to stay, while my own family didn't. After Marcus left, something shifted. I needed the truth. I opened my laptop and logged into my email, which I hadn't checked in months. Dad always said he'd handle the bills and bookings, but I remembered one password. I searched reservation and found it. A confirmation from a high-end resort in the Bahamas, a week-long stay, oceanfront suite, spa package, all paid with my debit card, the one Dad borrowed for emergencies. My hands trembled. My stomach churned. They didn't just forget me, they used me, lied to me, lived it up while I sat alone with cold cobbler. I closed the laptop, stood, and looked in the mirror. Not a naive daughter, but a woman who'd been taken for granted. For the first time in years, I felt something spark, not anger but clarity. After seeing that email, I went still, not numb, but calm, like my heart had paused to breathe. I didn't call Dad. I didn't text. I didn't throw anything. That's not me. I just stood in my living room, staring at the mirror Mom bought when I moved into this apartment. I saw every line on my face, every tired curve, but I didn't feel fragile. I felt awake. The next day, Lisa called, her voice syrupy. "So sorry we missed your birthday, Clara. Things got crazy. Dad's coming by with a little something." I didn't respond, just said, "Okay," and hung up. That evening, Dad strolled in without knocking, like he owned the place. I was folding napkins in the kitchen. "Hey, sweetheart," he said, setting a paper bag on the counter. Inside was a slice of carrot cake from some upscale bakery, wrapped like an afterthought. I looked at it, then at him. "This from the Bahamas?" I asked. His grin faltered. "You saw the photos, huh?" "I saw everything," I said. "The cocktails, the resort, the necklace on Chloe's neck. All on my birthday." He shrugged. scratching his chin. We didn't think you'd want to travel that far. You're always so busy. You said it was postponed, I replied, my voice steady. You said you'd come for dinner. He waved it off. Plans changed last minute. It's not a big deal. I stepped closer. You used my debit card, Dad. You paid for it all with my money. He flinched. You gave me the card for emergencies. I thought you'd be happy we had a good time. Happy, I repeated. Happy that I cooked, dressed up, waited for you on my 40th birthday, while you lied and left me to pay for your vacation? He looked irritated. It was just one birthday, Clara. You've had plenty. My hands shook. I gripped the counter. One birthday, I said. The first without Mom. I thought you'd want to be there, not run off with my money. He sighed, slumping into a chair. You're blowing this out of proportion. Am I? I said, stunned. You think it's dramatic that I'm hurt? That I sat alone while you spent my savings? He leaned forward. You've got your job, your place. You don't need much. Why is this such a crisis? I thought of the nights I stayed up helping him with bills, the times I skipped trips to send him money, the way I put his needs before mine. Now he was telling me my pain was inconvenient. I sat across from him, looking into the eyes of the man who raised me. I'm your daughter, Dad, not your bank account. He said nothing. I didn't cry this time. I stood, grabbed a sponge, and said, You should go. I need to clean, and I don't like cleaning around things that don't belong here. He looked shocked. Clara, go, I said. He stood, hesitated, then left without a word. That night, I sat on my balcony under the fairy lights Mom and I strung up years ago. I didn't cry or smile. I just let the breeze touch my face and listen to the hum of the town. I still loved my father, but I couldn't unsee the truth. I didn't seek out drama, but I needed help. A few weeks after our fight, money was tight, groceries were low, and the electric bill was higher than expected. I didn't panic. I'd faced worse, but I needed a bridge until my next paycheck. Marcus mentioned a retired lawyer, Evelyn Harper, who volunteered at the Willow Creek Community Center, helping women with financial advice. She's sharp, Miss Clara, he said. No nonsense. You'll like her. I didn't want to impose, but I called. Evelyn came over the next day, a tall woman with a gray bob and a firm handshake, carrying a leather satchel full of files. Ms. Hayes, she said, sitting at my table. You need some guidance? Just a little help, I said. A tough month. She tilted her head. Mind if I ask, do you have savings? A retirement account. I nodded. I do, but Dad's been managing it. She set her satchel down. How involved are you with that? I hesitated. He's got access. Pays the bills, handles the details, so I don't have to. Evelyn leaned in. Can we check your online banking? Just to make sure everything's in order. I felt uneasy, but agreed. I opened my laptop, logged in after a few tries, and saw it immediately. The balance was wrong, far too low. Evelyn scrolled silently, her face unreadable. My heart raced. When she looked at me, her voice was gentle but firm. Clara, your account's been drained over the past year. Thousands gone. Transfers to another account, resort charges, jewelry, even payments labeled consulting. I felt ice in my veins. That's Dad's account. He's been managing things. She pointed to a line. These aren't management. This is misuse. My throat closed up. He's been struggling. Said he needed help. Evelyn's eyes softened, but her tone was steady. Clara, you're not an ATM. You're a daughter, and you deserve better than being used while you smile through it. My hands ached from clenching them. He's my father, I whispered. And you're his daughter, she said. You don't owe him everything you've built. She closed the laptop. If you want help, I'm here. But only if you're ready to stop letting your trust be weaponized. I didn't reply immediately. I thought of the years I worked overtime to save, the times I sent Dad money instead of buying myself something nice, the nights I waited for him to show up. I don't want to hurt him, I said. You're not, Evelyn replied. He's hurting you. We didn't finish that day. She left her card and said to call if I needed her. I knew I would. The next week, Dad showed up all smiles. "Hey, sweetheart," he said, strolling in. "Big news. Found a condo. Great investment. I need $30,000 for the down payment. Maybe you can give me an advance on your savings now before it's too late." My breath caught. He said it so casually, like it was nothing. I looked at him, searching for the father I adored, but saw only entitlement. "I don't have that kind of money," I said. He smirked. "Come on, you do. You just don't want to help." My voice stayed even. "I've seen the charges, Dad. The resort, the jewelry, the dinners." His face hardened. "You're snooping now?" "No," I said. "I checked my own account." He scoffed. "So, you're cutting me off after all I've done for you? You mean lying to me?" I said, standing. "Leaving me alone on my birthday while you spent my money?" He snapped. "You'll end up alone if you keep this up." I picked up Evelyn's card. "I won't." He stormed out, slamming the door. I called Evelyn. "Let's do this," I said. It didn't take long for him to feel it. Evelyn helped me lock my accounts, freeze my card, and revoke Dad's access. The calls started, missed calls, voicemails, texts. "Clara, what's going on?" "My cards declined. Call me." I didn't respond. I pictured him at a store, card denied, frustration rising as he realized the bank login was locked. For the first time, I felt free, not guilty. But freedom brought a knock. Saturday morning, I was sorting mail when Dad barged in, fuming. "What's this about?" he shouted. I stayed calm. "Be specific." "My account's frozen. The card I use for bills got declined at the gas station." "You trying to ruin me?" "I'm protecting what's mine," I said. He stepped closer. "You're doing this to your own father?" "No," I said. "You did it to me." Lisa walked in looking tired, no makeup, just a hoodie. "I told you this would backfire," she muttered to him. I cut in. "No, let her talk. What did you tell yourselves while you partied on my birthday with my money?" Lisa looked away. Dad didn't blink. "We needed a break, Clara. The business wasn't working. You always said your money was for family." "For emergencies," I said. "For bills, medicine, Chloe's school. Not your vacations." He sneered. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." "And you broke every promise," I said. "You left me waiting on my birthday." His voice dropped. "So what now? You're done with us?" I pulled a letter from a drawer and set it on the table. "My will," I said. "Everything goes to a women's shelter in town, for women used by the people they trusted." He stared, shocked. "You're cutting me out?" "You cut yourself out when you saw me as a resource, not a daughter." Lisa teared up, grabbed her bag, and whispered, "I didn't know it was that bad. I thought you were okay with it." I said nothing. Silence spoke louder. She left. Dad stood, jaw tight, searching for words to sway me. There were none. He slammed the door so hard a picture of Mom wobbled. I straightened it, sat down, and laughed softly. Not from joy, but from the strength creeping back into me. I'd thought love meant giving everything. Now I knew it didn't mean letting myself be erased. A year passed, steady and slow, like flowers pushing through frost. Some days were tough. I'd stare out my window, wondering if I'd been too hard, if I should have answered Dad's calls. But then I'd remember the Bahamas photo, his casual request for my savings, the sting of an empty birthday table. I didn't answer when he called a month after I locked the accounts or when he texted, "This how it's gonna be?" Yes, it was. Taking control of my money, my life, felt like climbing out of a pit I didn't know I was in. Evelyn helped me secure everything, transferred accounts, reported charges, some refunded. She connected me with a financial advisor who treated me like a woman who knew her worth, not a child. We rewrote my will, directing my assets to a nonprofit helping women exploited by family. I told only Marcus and Evelyn. Marcus checked on me weekly, fixing my Wi-Fi or bringing pastries, sometimes just listening as I talked about Mom or my old job at the library. He never asked for anything, which made him family in a way blood hadn't been. For my 41st birthday, I booked the community center's small hall. Nothing fancy, shrimp étouffée, cornbread, red velvet cake. I wore a coral dress that felt like sunshine. I invited those who'd been there when I was low. Marcus arrived first, with his speaker playing Ella Fitzgerald and a bouquet of daisies. Evelyn came next, in a crisp blazer, her warm smile steady. Women from the shelter joined, some with walkers, some with grandkids, all in vibrant dresses. We laughed, danced, shared stories and cake. Then Chloe showed up. She knocked softly, no grand entrance. She held a plain card, her hair messy, no jewelry. "Grandma," she said, nervous. "I didn't know what they were doing. Dad said you didn't want to come, that you were too tired." I believed him. Then I saw the bank statements. "I'm so sorry." I looked at my half-sister, the girl who used to braid my hair when we were kids. "It hurt, Chloe," I said. She stepped closer. "Can I stay?" I paused, then handed her a plate. "Get some cake before Evelyn eats it all." She smiled faintly, joining us. I didn't hug her, not yet. Trust takes time. Marcus drove me home as the sun set over Willow Creek. "Better than last year?" he asked. I looked out the window. "Not better. Mine." At home, I stood on my balcony, the breeze soft against my skin. I thought of how far I'd come. Inside, I made tea, slipped into my robe, and sat at my table. I didn't check my phone for Dad's texts. I just smiled, not because I was happy, but because I was whole. I still loved them. But I was learning to love myself too.